I thought you had a scheduled post.
I did, but it wasn't for pre-show.
Oh, okay.
It was just saying we started. I didn't worry about it. They can just.
I'll post now. Oh no, it's not showing live yet. Why not? Oh, it looks like I got it set up correctly.
How's your day today, man?
It was solid. Yeah, I went to like Sunday night dinner. Lisa came over, and she went with us, and it was great. We made Rice Krispie treats with the kids.
Yum.
Yeah, it was solid. And then before that, like we just kind of like played outside, and then I wrote an article and caught
I
up
saw
on some
that.
stuff.
It was very nice. I thought I was reading like Microsoft's or something, and I was like, oh, wait a second. This is
That's on our
DeWayne's post.
podcast. Yeah, check that out.
Well, I don't know why it took me straight to. I don't even remember clicking anything with our site, and then I'm reading this post. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then it says like I saw like the picture with like my contact in it. And I was like, what is this? I was like, oh, okay. For some reason, I don't know how I got. I don't know how I got to there. Maybe I pressed it when I was clicking off the phone or something.
Nice. Well, and when I first
It's strange.
started it, something happened, and like the pictures didn't show up, so then I had to dump it
Mhm.
down. And then when we got back, I was like, okay, I gotta fix that. Crap. What did I do wrong? No. Interesting. Like, I know we're live, but I can't seem to. It doesn't seem like YouTube wants to, like, admit it. Oh, there we go. Alright.
Don't lie to me, YouTube.
That's just the weird way that it. Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Cool, cool, cool.
Cool. Cool. Cool. Cool. Cool. Cool. Cool. Oh, you know what we need to do? Not now, but next week. We need to re-record the intro.
Yeah, we should. What do you want to do with it? Just
I mean,
change our wording,
I mean,
or
the same
because I
thing's
have the
fine.
mic.
Yeah, the better mic next week when you have better internet. Like, cause you'll probably break up a little bit here and there today, but
Should I drop video? Like, should you tell me to drop video at some point if it's?
yeah, if it gets super robotic, I will. You look like Atlas did. Okay. You look like. Oh, we got people chatting. Just saying.
Already?
Yep.
Let's see if I can see this. I enjoy the chat portion. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna be upset if I can't see it today, which is probably gonna be the case. Oh, this may 1 second. Okay, there we go. Muted. All right, good. Did you see that video I sent to you of the Pokemon? How it's really gonna
I
be?
sent you a text about it this morning. Yeah, dude. That's gonna be. I can't wait. Can't wait. It's gonna be so good. Okay. I'm trying to manage my screens. Oh, right.
Oh, I look like Atlas. Oh, I think you said Alice at first, and I was like, what? Atlas looks like me. I begat him.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Yes. I was there for it. I promise.
There's an episode, I guess it was of New Girl that we watched. I can't remember. No. It was Dakota. What was that? What were we watching when they dropped DeWayne? I call it DeWayne's line. When everybody goes, "Are you or is it?" Was it? It may have been Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. I think it was Amy Schumer on something. Maybe it was New Girl.
Took my line. My very simple squeaky voice question.
Yeah, it was very funny though. And I was like, I gotta send that to DeWayne, and instead I sent the other video that I sent you from New Girl.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
showed
just
her
got
that.
blinded.
Yeah, I showed
Which-
her that. She laughed. She appreciated it. Oh. I didn't really do much on. Oh God, what the fuck is that, man? Oh man.
What is what?
The
Something tastes
bottom
terrible?
of my whiskey tastes god awful. I need to get something to.
It's been there since Thursday or Friday when we were supposed to do the
Yeah,
show.
and I'm now at the bottom, and it's. Oh, I'll be right back. We'll start a minute late or something. I gotta spike that. Oh.
Poor guy. See, if he'd just done sweet tea, he wouldn't have this problem. Just saying. He'll never know I even said that until he listens to this podcast again. I should have my own little segment. Never mind. Reason. I'm saying I should have my own little segment where I just talk smack about DeWayne, and the only way he finds out is if he listens to the podcast again.
It's a combination I can live with. Oh.
Hey, so people, it's like the website. If they go to the website, they can get there for sure now.
In just a second. That's a manual thing I have to do.
Got you.
Let me set that up real quick. Do you have think of a title a title for our episode?
Oh, I do have them. I put one. I usually try to give it one. Yes.
Steal from rich, give to greedy. Okay.
With a question mark.
Well, that's very important.
It is important because that's not I'm not making a statement, Raz. I'm asking a question.
Okay. Well, I just have to like. Let's say 17. I've almost got it down to like I've almost got my systems down pat. Like where I got this like.
How many different ones are you using when we do a podcast?
Oh, you mean oh god. It's gotten more simplistic. Now that I've got my Mac over here to use for the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 programs, maybe 4. It's not too bad.
That's a lot, man.
D&D is way worse, man. D&D is a fucking like heartache. Though we need to do it again.
I miss it. I mean, I'm sure you have like buffed up the story a whole lot since we've last played.
Nope. Like,
He goes,
when
sure.
have I had time? When have I had time? And frankly, like, we're not even playing regularly, so like I don't want to devote any time to doing story building when like we just haven't played. Like it would just break my heart. So yeah, man. All right, let's do our thing. Let me mute you and scroll the intro. And
You do you.
Yep. All right. So, you know what? I knew my buttons. Like, I knew something was fucked up because I didn't have my buttons ready. All right. Let's lose Devin. Devin is gone, and then.
Hi, I'm Devin, and I'm the pastor.
Hi, I'm DeWayne, and I'm the atheist, and you're listening to the Pastor and Atheist Show. Welcome to episode 17, where we steal from the rich and give to the greedy.
Greedy? Do we?
Don't we?
That's I think when I'm reading a book now, every time I get to a question mark, I get that really high pitch.
I'm telling you, man, that's my solid like go-to thing. And apparently, like, do you remember how that came up? Because I know I started doing that around you.
I think it was something. It had to be something with religion, like the Bible's really good. Is it? Like I'm sure. I'm like this was. I mean, even before this podcast, that I'm sure that had something to do with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I just remember, like it wasn't like really a staple of mine until you and I started like hanging out or whatever, and I coined that around you. And now like it's like I'm associated with it. So when people do it that have been around me, they're like, oh, fucking just pull the DeWayne. What do you mean? Am I? Did you?
They're like, I hate it. Like when it happens to me, I hate it. When it happens to other people,
it's glorious.
It's the best.
Yep.
Yes. I'm like,
Absolutely.
you just got DeWayne.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I just realized that we need to, on the intro, we need to also either get my cousin or another reputable guitar owner to like change up our intro. While I like it, it's pretty solid. I think we could find something a little more.
I agree. A little more upbeat, a little more. I'm sure she has something upbeat she could play
Well,
if she's willing.
She did "Love Yourself," like a cover of that. She just won't record it with my stuff. Like she recorded it on her iPhone. Oh,
Yeah.
so good. How's your week been, man?
It's good, bro. So I'll kick off with the weeklies. A couple things. It's mostly revolving about how I lose things often, and my wife points that out to me every chance she gets, and mostly because I have to ask her. So, for example, one of the things about not paying attention, we just recently painted the dressers at our home, 2 different colors. One was it was a country white color, and then some other gray color, and so we decided we were going to do them blue. We painted them all blue, and then she's like, I hate it, let's do white. So we had to do like several coats, of the first stuff, and then several coats like of the actual paint. And so we ran out of the other paint because we weren't going to use it for these big items. And so she's like, okay, well, you have to take what we have in blue and go exchange it for the white color. And I was like, too easy, I can do that. So I go to Walmart whistling, and I go grab the gray because it's in this. I grabbed 2 of them actually. I need 2 of or this white. I needed 2 of this white color, so I grabbed 2 from the same. And I whistle on over, I exchange, and I come home and I'm like, here you go, baby. Like super proud that I did something right. And she goes, these are 2 different colors, right? And I was like, no, it's not. I grabbed them from the same place. It's country white. It's what you asked for. And she goes, no, this is country white, and then there's white. And so she was just like, you don't pay attention a whole lot. I mean, you do good stuff, but you just didn't pay attention. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then she's like, tell me where your wallet is right now. And I was like, I think it's in my pocket of the pants. I think I have on the daily. If I don't ask her, even before this podcast, I said, hey, baby, where's the charger to the laptop? Where's those green headphones that I always use? And so she just makes fun about how I always have to ask where everything is that I own. And I think that's the case for a lot of men. And I guess you probably find yourself doing like the pat check, like the wallet, keys, cell phone.
All the time.
Tupac, just like before you leave, do the pat check.
Yeah, do the pat check.
Yeah, and then there's a void. When you pat and that thing's not there, the world's coming down around you.
It's worse like when I work out and I put my wallet in my dash, like in my center console.
And leave it there?
Yeah, and you leave it there, so when you're doing the pat check, you're like, fuck, where's the wallet? And then it takes you a minute, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's right.
The pat check. Never leave home without it, I'm telling you.
I always do the spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch, even though I don't use spectacles. Like, I just gotta do it. And sometimes I put my glasses in a chest pocket. So
just so you can do it.
Just so I can do it. Yeah, they're there. They're there.
And then, so this is also funny to me. So I'm in the military, as you may know. For listeners who do not know, I'm in the military. I'm in the Army. And every 6 months, we're required to do, or at least you have to do once a year, what's called an APFT, the Army Physical Fitness Test. And based on your age and based on your gender, you have to meet certain requirements in the push-up field and the push-up, sit-up, and the run. Now, the thing about the run is, if you're someone who's like me and has like bad knees or bad back or something that doesn't allow you to do the run, you can do an alternate event. The alternate event for us is the walk. And based on my age and my gender, I get 34 minutes and 30 seconds to walk 2.5 miles, which is super easy to do. Now, here's what we did. So I live in Columbia, Missouri. We have a lot of trails. And so naturally, we use those trails. Like our unit is great about going to these trails, and it's beautiful out there. And the track that we map out is down one way, a mile. And then you go a 1/4 mile past that for the walkers because they have that extra half mile. And then you turn around and come right back to where you started. Okay, so here's the thing. I do what's called an airborne shuffle. So I'm a walker and I'm with all these other walkers, but I'm doing like a shuffle. It's a pretty fast, it's a faster pace. It's like a 10 or 11 minute pace as opposed to the 13, 14 minute pace. And we started behind the runners this time. And so I get to the turnaround point maybe like 5 or 6 minutes after the runners have. and I'm on the way back, and there's civilians that are also running this trail, but they see us wearing the uniform we have to wear, and so I'm on my way back, and they're like, they think that I'm a runner, and I'm just a fat, slow runner, and I'm behind everyone else, and so they're like, keep it up, you're almost there. And like the thing is, I'm like, I'm not even breaking a sweat because I'm a walker, you know, I'm not running like I normally would have to. And it's just very funny that these guys are like, that guy's gonna get kicked out of the Army.
They're very supportive though. Keep it up.
Yeah, they are.
You got it, slouchy. Like what the fuck?
Like, it's what I don't hear them say after they say the positive thing. They're like, the finish line's almost there, but you're not gonna make it.
One last Twinkie. You're like, what was that? You got it. I'm like, what? No.
Like, I'm pretty stinky, so I just need deodorant. Oh, okay. And so I just see these people, and it's like a lot of buff dudes, like old guys who used to be in the Army, and you just feel the disappointment, like even though they're like,
back in my day, we all ran.
Back in my day,
Jimbo, no legs, still ran.
Still ran. He used a wheelchair.
No, he did a handstand the whole time. Back in my day, we had men.
That's where he just stops. It just keeps going. Is there any more to that? No, that's it.
No, that's it.
Back in my day, we had men. Oh gosh. So yeah, that's pretty much. And then we moved yesterday and today, and that has just got me whipped. But we're in the new place. It's much better because it's one level, and we're not having to worry about our son going up and down stairs. So, anyways, man, I've rambled on. So let's hear about your week.
Two things before we get in the week. One, I just turned off the pre-show text. Whoopsie. I'm so bad at this. Two, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're not watching on YouTube, you should for starters. But second, like behind Devin is this like badass like coffee mug thing that he built that I'm like super jealous of, and we'll have to build one in time. Like not now, I'm lazy, but like eventually. That's super cool. So. Like, he sent me a picture of that, and
I can tell you, it is so easy. It's literally...
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look hard to make, right? It's still impressive looking.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. I figure you don't hear that about anything else in your life, so... It's a compliment sandwich.
Where's your wallet at again? Shut up!
Speaking of, you can get little tiles, the tile things, and you can put them in your wallet or on your key ring or in your car, and... like your phone will be able to like Bluetooth to it and find it via GPS. I mean, just in case you need that.
So, like, if it's in my house, is it just GPS to my house? Because that's where I lose everything. Is just in my house.
It will GPS to your house, but you can also make it make noise.
Oh,
and when you have the tile, you can click the tile and it'll make your phone make noise. That's
great. I've heard you reference this before, and
yeah, I have one on my key ring. After Alex lost my keys, I invested in it immediately.
I love that. I told somebody that story the other day. It's always great.
Everybody loves that story. I'm still missing a set of keys.
It's not funny to me.
It's not. But no, for my week, I did something like completely like left field. I went and ate vegan food, like pure vegan food, like nothing is animal related.
Oh, so no byproduct.
Nothing. Yeah, like if that blade of grass like was licked by a cow, that blade of grass was cut out. Okay, like it doesn't go into the vegan food pile. All right. Like,
okay.
So I already knew like vegan food's probably not gonna be my pace. But we sit down. It's a really cool atmosphere. It's down by I don't really know if you're familiar with the downtown area, but it's just outside of downtown, off of Charlotte Pike.
Okay. No, yeah, I know that.
So we're sitting there, and it's next to a CrossFit place, and so they're playing volleyball, which was really cool because I like volleyball, and so watching them play volleyball on like a sand pit was super cool. But we ordered together the zucchini pad thai, or the pad thai with zucchini noodles.
Pad thai is good.
I know, right?
Love
and
pad.
Then the I think zucchini lasagna. And
okay.
So we're like, we'll just split because we couldn't decide. What do you want to eat? And I was choosing between those two, and she was like, I get one, you get the other, we'll split. It's like, it's great to be in a couple, right? Like I get the best of both worlds now. So we are eating these things, man, and it was pretty bad. And now let me say this: the lasagna was actually pretty good.
Did you say it was very bad? Like you didn't like it at all?
No, I like the lasagna. The pad thai, hard pass.
Really?
It was awful. It was not pad thai. It tastes
Not
more
real
like
pad
coleslaw. It tastes more like coleslaw, which I hate coleslaw. So the lasagna was actually pretty good. I would eat it again.
Okay.
But then, so Voldemort, like, comes from California, and she, like, knows, like, about good vegan food. And even she was like, yeah, that's not pad thai. That's more like coleslaw. Like, that's not pad thai. So, that was a very interesting experience. And I don't know, man. Maybe I don't fill up on greens or whatever, but I was still kind of, like, a little hungry on the way back. And so she and I were just shooting the shit on the way back about, like, my favorite foods, and I was like, man, hot wings, dude. If I could just find a decent place that makes hot wings. And she was talking about this place in Colorado called Wingstop.
Yes,
And
Wingstops are so good.
well, I've never had them. And she was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen some around here. Let me look it up. And sure enough, boom. So we went straight to a Wingstop and then got fucking hot wings.
Had real food?
Maybe.
Because I don't typically associate, you said, she knows good vegan, and I'm like, I don't typically associate good with vegan in any form.
I won't ever knock anything that I haven't tried, but I can tell you I will never eat that pad thai ever again.
Call it bad Thai.
She said that, like, in California, like, it's really, really hard to tell, like, because they actually, like, put a lot of effort into that, but this place, I guess, didn't.
Whatever.
So that was pretty good. That was an interesting experience, and I have a new wing place, which I will probably be eating this week. Either for lunch or dinner. I'm going to hit those wings up again.
I might look and see if there's one around here. I totally forgot about them, but yeah, they're great.
Yeah, fucking delicious. That's for damn sure. So, Friday night, I was like, I'm gonna do the kid thing. I'm gonna be a dad like I always am. But, Friday night, we're watching a movie. We're eating popcorn. That's what we're doing. And then we're all gonna sleep in Dad's bed. It'll be like a giant party. Instead of normal, like, actually being a structured dad and caring about their well-being. So we do that. We eat the popcorn. We watch Wall-E, which, by the way, is, like, always a tearjerker for me. Like, solid movie. And I like robots and technology, so it's even better. I also, like, think highly of health, and that's a very big, like, statement on society's health. So that was a great movie, and we watch it. And so, like, we're about to cuddle up in bed, and one of my coworkers has been working since, like, 7 a.m., and he's out on site, and it's like 9:30.
Whoa!
And like their sand is down, so like everything is down. And he's like, "I could use some help." And so I was like, "Okay." One of my other techs was going out there, and I was like, "Do you need an additional set of hands?" And he was like, "Well, yeah. I mean, I'll be by your place in 10 minutes if you want me to pick you up." Okay.
All right.
So I,
Bummer.
I went
That's a bummer.
I left the house at 9:40ish, 9:30, 9:40, I think 9:30. I did not get back into my bed till 4 a.m.
I totally misread your notes. I was like 9:30 to 4. That seems like a short day to me. But you meant 9:30.
Oh, I meant 21:30.
At 9. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I see what I did there. I went half military time and then half non-military time. Yeah. No. It was 6.5 hours in the middle of the night. Oh my gosh, it was awful.
Talk about that overtime.
Yeah, it is overtime. It's also like I also want my team to know that, like, if you're in trouble, like, I'm gonna come out there to help you.
That's good, man. I'd be. You're a good guy to call upon, and especially in those types of situations.
So, yeah, man. In case you're missing this on the podcast, you just saw, like, a very sweet half of a moment with Devan and his lady friend. So
she's going to sleepy bye. I love you, and I mean it.
Yeah, it's a Sunday, so, like, actual routines are kicking in instead of Fridays where everybody's just up a little bit later. So
she said, "Don't make fun of her tonight, 'cause she may be listening."
I mean, I never make fun of your wife. I know better.
I will. I'll make sure, that way I'll know she's listening.
That's fine.
That's how I'll test it.
She can threaten your life. Like, I don't want. She has my address. She can mail me a bomb or something. I don't want to mess with that.
Have you seen the cost of postage? No way.
She could ship me like a dirty diaper, and that's just as equivalent.
That's a dirty bomb right there.
Yeah, right. All right, man. Let's roll into quote of the weeks.
Quote of the week. This is my favorite. So this just happens to be from my wife. I won't take these from her often, but this one is pretty funny. She's a pizza addict, and I can't remember, we were talking about somebody ate one piece of pizza at church or something, and her quote was, "I just don't understand people who eat only one slice of pizza."
Mm.
I was like, and I get that. I mean, because what do you mean?
I get that 100%.
Because even if you're not hungry, like pizza's so good, you make room for it.
You know what? Go down
I gotta
the
go.
hatch.
I'm gonna go poop, and then I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna have room for a second
I'm gonna
slice.
eat the other half of that pizza that I've been waiting on.
Yeah,
I
I
had
mean,
pizza for dinner last night, and that's definitely the rule. It's like, yeah, one piece is pretty good. Two would be better.
you know, it's better than 2 slices of pizza.
The rest.
3 slices. Yeah. We had pizza tonight. I'm looking at it right now. I may even just while we're podcasting it.
Just
No,
eat
I'm not.
some pizza.
I'm trying to stick with the one serving, and I've been doing well.
It's really hard.
It is, and no sweets. I went on the no sweets thing. Called you about that?
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, but I'm
How's
doing
your
it.
week? You want to recap on that?
I'll recap.
Have you faltered any?
No, I haven't faltered just because I'm afraid of failing, and I don't want to. The one thing that keeps me, because if I have Dakota keep me accountable, I remember this in New Year's. We had the same thing. I was like, I'm not going to eat sweets for a month, and if this was the new year, we're about to move, and somebody made us a cake, and Dakota was like, it's New Year's, and we're not going to see these guys for a while. You should eat their cake, which then was perfect. I was like, that's so. You're right.
You're right. I'm a good person. This is why I'm breaking my own moral compasses.
Let's eat this cake together.
Shovel the cake in my mouth. It's for their friendship.
Dude, for sweets, people, I think you'll justify it any way you can. Well, you know what? I walked an extra flight of stairs today, so
it's windy out, so there was some abrasion when I walked, so that's extra calories burned. So I think I deserve this cake, the entire thing.
I stood during the meeting at work as opposed to sitting, so I'll have this pint of ice cream.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I haven't faltered. I think I'm going to move to having mostly water now, because a lot of times I'll do sweet tea, like even today, sweet tea or milk. And so I'm going to try to do a whole lot of water, more water this week. It's been tough. Man. So tough.
Oh, so good.
But yeah, that's my quote for the week. I just don't understand people who eat only one slice of pizza. Amen.
Yeah, I mean, that's hashtag American. I feel like... so mine, I saw...
It's ridiculous.
No, but I saw it flipping through either Facebook or Twitter or Tumblr or Instagram. One of the many social medias I've now pulled into my schedule of life, and I saw it and was like, boom, I actually like that. The quote is, do you really think you should fall in love with someone's genitals over their soul? Because that's shallow and sad.
Is that from a movie or something, or just somebody had that quote?
I don't know where its origin is. I Googled it and couldn't find a solid hey, here's where it actually comes from. So I just said the internet, because that's where I fucking saw it.
Okay, yeah.
But it's really good. Man, there's so many especially being in the Bible Belt. There's so many people that are very anti-gay or anti-love, so to speak. So when I saw that, I was like, that's so solid, because you don't fall in love with somebody, you fall in love with their soul. And that I say that as somebody who doesn't believe in souls really, but it's the perfect word encapsulation.
Just the idea behind it.
Yeah, what it means. And so when I saw that, because I just imagine this old guy going, "Oh, that's 2 men kissing," and some young person just being like, "Do you really think you should fall in love with someone's genitals over their soul? Because that's shallow and sad." And the old guy being like, "Get off my lawn!" I don't know.
He just throws a rock at the young person. Shut up!
Suddenly, yeah, but not the gay people, because he doesn't want to go to jail for bashing.
So the old man just stares at him like, you think he's going to have a change of heart? And then he throws the rock. You're right.
That's illegal. That doesn't matter.
You're on my lawn. Do what I want.
Oh, yeah. So I saw that one. It's that's got to be my quote of the week. It resonates with me because, I'm very big into, gay marriage. I think that's very important that we have that now. Which I just call that marriage. but for the most people, I have to specify.
Well, there's differing opinions. Me being one of them. So
I'm very aware, but that's what makes this a beautiful relationship.
Well, technically, it still is marriage. I mean, it just depends on. I guess you can. I don't know. Can anybody marry anybody now? Is that? I mean, like,
Yes,
or anything?
like,
I heard
yeah.
where somebody married at like a inanimate object that they had.
Oh, I don't know. I think some guys pushing to push his agenda. I saw like a headline. I didn't read the article, but where a guy's like pushing to marry a laptop.
I wouldn't even. It's not.
like somebody like writes in the application, you go, no, Bill, just no, and like and just rip it up. Yeah.
You just send him back ones and zeros and tell him if he doesn't know how to read it, then he shouldn't be dating a laptop.
You guys don't speak the same language.
Ooh, there's a computer joke. Boom chow. Oh.
That's right. So this top 5, I like you. So good, man. So this week's top 5 is misconceptions / questions about my profession.
And so this means when we say my profession, DeWayne's profession is IT. My profession is the Army, the military world. So top 5 misconceptions or questions that we get. And these are questions, DeWayne, you probably would say that you get all of the time. Like most of the time with anyone who's maybe not familiar with it. And so it's maybe not their fault that they don't understand the world. But you've got to understand that we this question. Well, yeah, and I'm going to say, come on, guys. Think about this. So I'll do my top 5. And I get this one, and I've done this to people too, especially with like college professors, not in the Army, but college professors. They'll work at a college, and I'll meet 2 professors. They don't know each other, and I'll say, "Oh, hey, you work at the college? Do you know so and so?" And so the question I get is, "Hey, my friend's in the Army. His name is blank. Do you know him?" And so I'm like, you know how big the Army is, right?
Well, it's 12 people. That's why they assume that you know everybody.
I think it's so just so you know, there's within the Army itself, and most branches have this too. There's the active duty guys, there's the reserve guys, there's the National Guard guys, and then there's guys like me who are active guard reserve, which are part of the reserve as active duty. And then spread us across the world, and then for somebody to say, "Hey, do you know John Smith? Because he's in the Army and you're in the Army. You guys should know each other." No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Not in the least, not in the close, not in the slightest. Yeah.
Also, if I sound terrible, I have the worst allergies going on right now. Like it hit me full force yesterday, and so trying to combat that. So I apologize in advance. Yeah. So hey, I have this friend that does IT, DeWayne. I don't know if you might know him. He lives here though. He's never been to Tennessee. Number 4 question for me. Top misconception or question. Number 4. How many people have you killed? And so this is mostly
such a fucked up question to ask somebody.
It
on
is
so many levels.
It is. How many people have you killed? Well, first, because I have never killed anyone, it's easy for me to say none. But if I had, then I wouldn't tell you, and I would dare say that any other military guy who's had to do that will not tell you and will give you the stink eye. So if you ask that, just be prepared to get a stupid answer or a dumb look. Don't ask anyone. It's mostly students who do that, like young kids who don't get that. They just
they
think
don't have
it's cool
of the world yet.
Yeah. Like when I came here to the church I go to now, the students in my small group, that was one of the first questions they asked when. I'm not offended because I know they're kids and I get that, but adults, come on now, don't ask that dumb question.
Oh God, I can't imagine if an adult asked me that and I was in the armed forces, and be like, whatever it was, it's about to be +1. Like, who asked that question? It's so fucking rude.
Or they asked, I saw something today, and the question was, have you ever killed someone? And the guy said, not since I got out of prison. I was like, that's so good.
That's so good.
Number 3, I used to be stationed at Fort Knox for a while. I went to basic training there. I did my 68 whiskey medical training there, as opposed to Fort Sam Houston, which is much nicer, but they had just started a school, so I went there instead. And then I also was at a unit there, the 11th Aviation, for a year. But there's a popular thing about Fort Knox. They have the gold deposit there, and so people, anytime they heard me say Fort Knox, would say, "Well, can you pick me up some gold on the way back?"
Oh.
Like, yes, this building, if there is even gold in it, I've never seen. But as you drive by, there's like two gates around it.
Through the gold pickup, like you just.
Yeah, I'll take 2 bars, please.
Yeah. What are they running for? All right, we'll just give me 10 just in case.
We got a special today. You buy 10, you get 1 free. I'll take. All right.
People, hey, I'm going to the store. You need anything? $1 million.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, we could all use $1 million. All right.
What would they do if you came back with it? Like, you said you needed it.
It's like covered in blood. You're like, I mean, it wasn't easy, but you got it. And when the cops show up, this was all your idea.
Do you remember the Amelia Bedelia books?
No.
That would be a perfect. So Amelia Bedelia was this kid's storybook, and the thing with Amelia Bedelia is she would do literally what anybody told her to do. And so there was one where she was at a baseball game, and she hits the ball, and they say, "Steal second, steal." So she goes and picks it up, like she takes it, and they're like, "No, run home!" And she literally ran home. And there's just all these stories. So I picture Amelia Bedelia is going to the grocery store. She asks you if you need anything. You say $1 million, and she comes back with this blood money. Here you go.
She like sticks up the store and every store around it. I was only wanting to go to the one, but $1 million, that's a whole lot of money. Like
I came for a jug of milk and said I need $1 million. Oh gosh. Awesome. Number 2, why is your flag on backwards? Now this one's not super common. But the flag, if you've ever seen it on the right arm, it looks. The blue area is facing forward, where typically it would be towards the the left side and not the right. It's probably confusing if you've never seen it, but some people think like it's on backwards. Like, why is it like that? And it's because if you're holding a flag on a pole and you're running at the enemy, that's the way the flag would look, and it's to say that we don't run away from battle, we run toward it. And so that's why the flag is worn that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
And instead of the opposite way. Not upside down, but just reversed.
No, I get 100% what you're talking about. Got some shit going on.
It's secret, like, we're still the best. Like, America's like, we'll kill you. And that's how we say it through that flag. And then, number 1, we're still at war. Like, question mark, we're still at war. That one to me is... Like, have you ever turned on the TV in the past, I don't know, 15 minutes or so? There's always stuff going on that you can hear about.
Let me ask you a question. Are we still actually considered at war, or are we just always like? Because I would consider what we're in as an occupation, not a war.
Well, no. Well,
like,
depends on
who. Too political.
Depends on what, I guess. Some people, people from a military standpoint would say, yeah, we're still at war because we're deploying soldiers there. We're still at war until it becomes like a base where it's just a base where we're just there because we used to be there and we've set a base there. And like you said, occupation is the word. But right now we're deploying soldiers all the time, and they're talking about going back to Iraq. So yeah, we're definitely still at war. It's a very different war than people know. It's not this civil war, revolutionary war where it's north and south and they march in long lines and kill one another. But we're still at war. Yes.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. So top 5. Mine's not gonna be as good as yours. I read yours, and this one, yours is pretty funny. So let's go ahead and hear your top 5.
So I'm in IT, and man, like I hear some crazy fucking questions. And there's so many that come on. Like some of the contenders that didn't make it were, my son wants to be in IT. What should he do? I don't know. Like learn. Like, why are you asking me this question? Like, oh my god, just. Anyways, that was the one I was like, I really want to put there, but. It's top 5. So, here's one of the ones that I get all the fucking time. We go to offices. Like, we do offices IT. And I swear to God, dude, microwave can be changed out with toaster, phone, and I don't mean like smartphone. I mean like just the phone you pick up and say, hey, coffee maker, refrigerator. If it's got an electronic pulse, I've heard this. My microwave doesn't work. Can you fix it too?
So anything with electric current you can fix, right?
If it plugs into the wall, it's apparently something I service. Wrong. Wrong. I don't even want to work on fucking printers, okay? Like, I have a vendor for that. So, no.
It's true.
Get out of that. I don't want to touch any of that stuff. Now, the fucked up part is I probably could fix half of these things, but You don't want to pay me $135 an hour to look at your coffee maker. Guarantee you don't want to do that. Number 4 is whenever I like work on something, and half the time it's like when I do something successfully or like quickly, really efficiently, it just seemed really easy. Someone always goes, "That's why you make the big bucks." And you're like, I don't know how to tell you this. Like, honestly, I'm probably underpaid for what I do.
Could you define big bucks? What is big bucks to you?
Do they hand me big dollars? Is that what you're seeing? Because, like, there are people who make way more money than me and don't actually do anything productive to their company.
It's literally like big deers. They're like, here's a big bucks. Here's a 15 point. Yeah. You did good work, son.
We're going to give you some deer steak, you know? Big bucks.
Yeah, I make the big buck.
I hate that one too, man. Because everybody just assumes technicians make a whole lot of money, but you're wrong. Like, that might have been true 15, 20 years ago when it wasn't, like, so saturated and everybody couldn't Google most of these problems.
Right, yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, Google, man. G-O-D. So, why does it take so long to fix this? It's not like you're doing something with your hands. That one drives me insane. When someone goes, why'd it take so long? You wouldn't like ask a carpenter or someone building a fucking house that you can physically see what's going on. Like, I get why their brain does this.
Yeah.
They don't understand what I'm doing, what I have to go through. Or what's worse is when it's like a 7-year-old computer and like it's so slow. And they're like, why's it taking so long? Well, it's taking 10 times as long because your computer is from the fucking Stone Age. Like,
it's a Windows 95.
Windows Vista. Like a shit, dude. Oh my god. That's the worst. When someone just expects like this magic wand to be waved and everything be solved. No. No, 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 no. Number 2. Everyone always assumes I have free time to work on their computer for free and right then. Like, I get that shit all the time. In fact, I got it today. But I'll wait until I pull number 1 in.
Okay.
To explain that. But
you know what's funny is even when I have issues, I like try not to text you because I get that, but I'm like, I gotta see if you can give me an answer because like I Google those things.
Totally different. Because you text me. It's not like you show up and sit a laptop in front of me and go, hey, so something's wrong. I'm not even joking. Like 2 weeks ago, my mom's friend dropped by and was like, hey, your mom said you could do this for me. First of all,
oh no!
I don't know who the fuck you think. I don't think. Who the fuck are you to think you can just walk up and do that? B, who the fuck does mom think she is to authorize this? Like, somebody here is getting an invoice and nobody's gonna want to pay it. Okay? Like, I don't mind working on people's stuff for free. I really don't. But it's when they're like, so you're gonna do that right now? When's it gonna be done? When's it gonna be done? Or furthermore, what's actually more insulting is when I work on somebody's computer who's like a friend, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't need to like discuss price up front because you know like they get it. But like recently, I did work for a friend, a family friend, and I was like, you know, it won't take too long. It won't be too bad. I ended up spending like 8-9 hours of my time on this. And so I was gonna be like, all right, you know, here's what it's worth. Like, this is actually, I was gonna give her like, here's what you owe me, and it's far under because if you know, and 9 hours of my time is really close to $1,200. I was gonna give her way under that, and she goes, yeah, I thought of you. Hands me a $25 gift card to Chili's. Like, first of all, you don't know that I eat at Chili's. $25 is fucking disgusting. Like, if you knew what my time was actually worth.
Oh man,
that's worse. Anyways, number 1. And this one happens parties, social events. Today it happened at Sunday dinner, like which I was actually really happy to help him today. He just happens to fit this example because his mom's a sweetheart and I would do anything for her.
Yeah.
But he just happens to hit the example. Hey, can you look at my phone/PC real quick? Happens all the time.
Phone/PC. It's like, wait, is your PC your phone or?
I swear to God, people go, oh, my email doesn't work on my phone. Oh, that sucks, man. Yeah, but you're in IT, right? Yeah. Oh, can you just look at it like it's not working? How do I change my signature? My browser's not working. Like, dude, I get that it's a smartphone, but we're at a party. Like, do you think I want to work on your stuff? Today, literally today, I'm sitting there. I'm eating my fajitas, and it's so good because we had homemade fajitas for the Sunday night dinner. Oh, so good. I'm sitting there eating it, and my buddy Matt, who I love, and he's a brother, and he's probably listening, walks up to me and goes, "Hey, DeWayne, what
Matt
was
probably...
that key to, boot into safe mode?" And then I answer the question. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not gonna get roped into this. And then, 5 minutes later, Andrew comes up, which again, I love Andrew, and if he's listening or if Matt's listening, know that I don't mean this about you guys. You just happen to fit the perfect example for my top 5. Andrew walks up and is like, "Hey man, that button didn't work," and or it got rid of this weird screen, and it starts. And I can feel that explaining this is gonna take longer than going and doing it, and so I'm like, okay, cool, let's just go do this. And I walk in there, of course, hit a couple keys, and then we're good to go. But he just happened to be the embodiment of, "Hey man, IT stuff."
Real quick, just real quick.
Can you just
never
look at my
real
PC
quick.
real quick? No,
It's never
real quick. Never. Oh man. Oh, so let's roll into what we're calling halftime, I guess.
Pump the brakes. Halftime for everybody. So if you are, this is, I guess, what other podcasts do, and so I thought this was good too. It gives you time to take a break, and if you already know what our websites and stuff are, you can skip over this part in 15-second increments and jump right to the main topic. But we're going to do halftime. So if you do or don't know, the main place we want you guys to find out any information about us, what our Instagrams are, what our Twitter accounts are. We have a new Facebook page. You can find all of that out at our website. Our website is thepastoranatheistshow.com. That easy. And so if you want to find out anything about that, we also have tons of blogs we're doing. DeWayne did a new one today about some really cool things that the iPhone 6S and the iPhone 6S Plus can do. And so you should go check that out. But we put all the blogs there. We do book reviews, that kind of thing. You can find that at the website, thepastoranatheistshow.com. And like I said, our Facebook page is not very much different. It's just the Pastor and Atheist Show on Facebook. I think, DeWayne, don't you just go to facebook.com/the Pastor and Atheist Show, and that will take you there?
I believe so. And the Facebook, yeah, you're exactly right. It's the Pastor and Atheist Show. But I would say that the website is where you're going to find everything news or everything that's the big things for us. And the Facebook is going to be funny pictures and articles that we cross post. But Facebook is going to be the more social thing, I guess.
Yeah, the interactive
stuff. The interactive portion, which we love, and the blog or the website is where you can find our blogs, our articles, our reviews, or whatever. You can find copies of the podcast there via YouTube, and if we're gonna make big sweeping changes or anything, we'll post a blog about it. But so I mean, those two platforms I believe will be the two show-based ones we use. Because really keeping up with a show Twitter and a show Instagram, I'm not really interested in doing that right now. But definitely something you can do. So those are the two. I'm with you. That's definitely where we are. I will go ahead and say that to find me, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Well, not Facebook. Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat is your IT hero. If you need to know how to spell that, you can go to the website.
Yes, we're trying to push everyone to the website. No freebies here.
Also, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're doing it. No, you're doing it. You did it.
So we really would love for you guys to go to iTunes or whatever platform you use to listen to the podcast and rate and review us, please. That's how we're going to be able to do a few more things with the podcast. We hope to have sponsors sometime in the future. I don't know when that's going to be. It doesn't matter to us so much. Like we said, we just love doing this, and we love talking about this stuff. We have a great main topic coming up. But if we want to hopefully get anywhere with this and maybe reach a few more listeners that don't know about us, that's the way that we're going to make that happen. And we need you guys, our faithful listeners. Also, if you're listening right now, I see there's about 8 or 9 of you. If you want to chat with us during the main topic or anytime, just feel free to do that, and we will do our best to answer questions immediately as soon as that happens. DeWayne, do you have any other news about the podcast itself, my man?
No, I think you covered it. Other than we're gonna be trying some different things. We'll change the format up as we need, and I'm personally trying to kick out a blog, article, blurb, whatever, something weekly, if not more than that. But that's currently my goal. So if you have a newer iPhone, go read the thing about 3D Touch, because honestly, man, like I knew about 3D Touch, but when I looked into it, like no apps supported it. But now, like, there's a ton of awesome 3D Touch features. And if you know anything about me, and you'll learn this as you go listen to the podcast, I'm all about efficiency. Like, anything I can do to shave down time in life, and this shit does that. It's it's on point. So yeah, that's it. But our main topic today should be interesting. I'm excited to bust your balls about it.
Well, we're not going to bust mine. I got a few different ways to go. So today's main topic, and we had this sent in from a listener, Lauren. I don't know if she'll listen to this, but it was a friend of mine back home. And so thank you for listening, first of all, Lauren. And then secondly, thank you for sending us a question. We're going to use any of the questions you guys ever send to us. We will most likely, if we haven't already touched on those subjects, we will, and even if we have, we will answer those questions. That will become part of the content of our show. But today's topic is over churches and the pastors who work in them and the money that they make to be pastors. Is it too much? Is it not enough? And so we're going to be talking about, there's a video that Lauren suggested to us. Also, how much do pastors make, budgets that churches have, and the issue of giving money to the church. And so I don't know if you want to kick it off or if we want to chit chat about that video, if you have a clip or not. If not, I can.
I didn't pull up a clip for it, mainly because I don't. Did you send that to me in like a text message? Is that why I don't have that?
Probably, yes.
Yeah, so that's why I don't have like a blurb of the video. So if you want to go ahead and give your thoughts on the video, we can start there. And because I know you had like a little guideline of how you wanted to roll things, so let's.
I do. Yeah. So there's these two guys. And I may have the names wrong. We will post the video. I'll make sure to get the video so we can upload it, and you can check that out yourself when this releases to the podcast and all that good stuff. But Kenneth Copeland, Jesse Duplantis, maybe saying that wrong. They're discussing about being on their private jets. Like, these guys have private jets that they travel on, and one guy says that he's on this plane and he's talking to God, about his plane and saying, I love this plane, and God says back to him, is this all you think I can do, is provide you with a plane? But he has this conversation about how the plane is necessary, and I think that was the direction that Lauren was going, were these pastors, these mega pastors at these mega churches who have these jets, and it is so crazy that they spend so much money, or so much money for wherever it came from is spent on such a thing. And so the guy on the guy on the right, if you're looking at the video, the guy on the right to me just seems crazy. He's just overly crazy. A couple issues I see with this in the video. One says there's an excuse. The reason that they have these private jets is because they can't talk to God verbally on a crowded airplane, because they would be seen as being crazy. And secondly, since when is their job as pastors to be alone? They say that they need to be alone. That's why they need the jet, because they need their time to be alone. And one of the quotes was, you don't want people coming up to you and asking for prayers. And I'm thinking, what kind of Christian is that? If you're stuck on your fame as a pastor, then you've got it backwards. And then third, there's a comment about, well, I can be riding with all those demons. Like, how much more redneck and Southern Baptist can you get than to be like, I'm on a plane, a tin can full of demons? Just a dumb statement to me, just from that. Now, there are some points that I get in DeWayne, just jumping here. So I try to analyze this just like you and I do our podcast, from both sides.
Well, I've got your first perfect point. Hold on.
Okay.
In a private jet, they're a lot closer to God. I'm just saying.
Amen. Well, I mean, does they go higher than typical airliners, I guess?
No, but at least in this own realm, they got their own jet. Okay, just like when they're giving a speech, they have their own pedestal. They're not down there with the people. They got to be above
with
the
all
people.
The demons.
The demons.
This guy's calling people demons. These are the people that maybe some of them are going to go to your church and see you preach. But there are some points I get. There are a lot of famous people in the world, in all industries, that do have jets. And so I can see how maybe these guys who, the one who made a little more sense and wasn't as crazy as the crazy guy, said, I'm in Baton Rouge one day, I'm in Los Angeles the second day, I'm in Atlanta the third day, I'm in New York City the fourth day, I'm in Milwaukee. And so he's in all these places, I'm jumping back to back. And he goes, so I have a guy who lives down the road. He's a Delta pilot, and I showed him my itinerary and said, "Can you make this happen, or is there anyone who can make this happen?" And he said, "No, I can't make that happen because of it's crazy, and I wouldn't want to." And so, granted, that's one excuse he has or one point he has, which I get. Yeah, that's crazy. So you have a private jet that caters to you and your schedule. There are people all over the world who do that. I mean, I have a top 10 list of the most desired speakers in the world today: Michelle Obama, Marco Rubio, Ryan Seacrest, Bill Clinton, Jack Dorsey, who's the founder of Twitter and Square, and then Marissa Mayer, CEO of Yahoo. Those are just a few, not the whole 10. So it makes sense that when someone is desired as a speaker, even in the religious world, there are people who are willing to pay to go see this man speak. And why shouldn't he have a jet? I mean, if he's flying around like that, all these other people doing it too. So from that perspective, I get yes. That's the one way I see that it's valid. I disagree with a lot of the other portions, and we'll see that as we go into this further. So
well, I think the biggest thing being like those other people you listed, like I mean Michelle Obama excluded, they're also coming from like a private company's funds. It's not like churches. Not only do they get grants, they also get like support from their parishioners, and so like their parishioners are tossing all this money, and you know what? Just get an Xbox, a private plane, like, some fucking crystal, like, whatever we can do to, like, you burn this fucking money, man.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and that's one of the things we'll talk about a little bit later is where's that money coming from? The money that people are being paid, where's it coming from? That was, I wouldn't say quick on the first part, but that was the first part. And then, so the second part I was going to talk about is what do pastors getting paid, or what should they get paid? I didn't pull up anything about, I don't know. I have any hard facts about what particular pastors make because I don't know. It's taboo really anywhere to talk about what you make.
Yeah, so it is, right? And the Googling I found, and I don't have any reliable sources, so this is all very much hearsay because you are very right. Pastors don't want to talk about what they make. And churches definitely don't want to make that public. But it varies, and it varies about your church size and your church fame, but you're basically... your cost of living, depending on where you are in your cost of living, being a pastor is typically going to be about as good as making, I would say, like middle class money, which is cool because you're following your path and you're getting paid decent money at it. Like around here, like middle class money is anywhere from like 40 to 60 grand in Nashville. Mm-hmm. And so I know that a lot of pastors in this area make anywhere from 40 to 60 grand. I know some of them that make more than that. I know some of them that make less than that. But the people who make less than that are typically in smaller churches in smaller towns.
Right.
But that being said, it could be 100% unfair for me to say what they should and shouldn't get paid. I don't know, man. Like some of these things, like when I hear about that, just like when someone who is in a not-for-profit or a for-good company, because I like calling them for-good instead of not-for-profit. But in a for-good company, when you see a CEO who makes a whole lot of money, like that, like frustrates people. But at the same time, like they're doing a good thing and they get paid well. Like as long as their operating costs are lower than what they're giving out. Like so, if they're giving out 80% and their operating costs are 20%, and he's still making $100 grand a year, like yeah, absolutely. Who cares? Why would you be mad at him? Like he's still doing good. So I mean, it totally is what it is, man.
And the things that I base it off of, and being a pastor myself, these are the expectations I had, but from the outside world, here are the things that I think a pastor should be considered, like things that could be considered when a pastor is paid. One, the average cost of living, like you said, of the area that they work in. Now, that to me, the average cost of living, what it would say that the average, that salary should be, is to me is the floor. That's the floor of what they should get paid. And then how does that job that someone is doing compare to other jobs in the secular world? Because you have things like executive pastor or bookkeeper, and how would those jobs compare to other jobs in the secular world that are not in a church? Third, by the number of maybe of dependents they have. even the military does stuff like that. I know not a lot of other jobs don't, but I think that's kind of a cool thing that the Army does. Is
I mean, it makes sense.
You have a little extra, you have dependents.
Yep.
And then fourthly, by the number of extra jobs that they must perform, weddings, funerals, marital counseling, that kind of thing, that it does take up a lot of family time doing those things, like weddings and funerals. You don't have to do those, but that's, if you're a person in that position, oftentimes you feel obligated because you are in that position. Like, yeah, this is my church home. These are the people who know me. They want me to marry them. I knew their loved ones. They want me to do the funeral. I care about this couple, and I'm going to do their marital counseling. And so, yes, you end up pulling a lot of extra duty that requires you to be away from your family. And those are the four things I think should be the things put into how much does a preacher or pastor get paid.
So here's my thing. One, like, you're definitely tied in relationships when it comes to like married and funerals and stuff like that. Like, I've even told you that like when I get married again, like I want you to do the services, which is also like an interesting. I had an interesting conversation today about that I'll have a discussion with you off the air about. But I thought honestly that it's kind of like when cops do security gigs, like that's a totally separate payment.
Yep.
So like when you do a wedding, I figure somebody pays you for that. Or do people just not pay you and just expect you to do it because you're the pastor? Because like,
most
I
of
would
the time
totally
I think,
pay you for starters.
I think weddings maybe, but funerals, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't think funerals. I don't think anybody
I would never.
That's like bad will, right? And
Yes.
I wouldn't request money for a wedding either. But still, like, this guy takes time out of his day. I don't give a shit. Like, dude, like I said, if it's you, like, especially now that you live away, like, I would A, pay you. B, like, facilitate your travel. It might not be, like, the best of the travels, but I would still make sure you could get there, right? Because you're going out of your way. Yeah, like, you're like, did you just, like, Uber me from Missouri to Tennessee? Hey, man, I did the math. It was cheaper.
Someone just showed up my door.
There's going to be 4 Ubers that you have to, like, pick up and drop off, but all the same, you're going to get here, buddy, and for about $9.99.
No bathroom breaks. He's got a time schedule key.
Yeah. It's like one of them is like a tricycle Uber or some shit. Like, just a little kid trying to make its money. Yeah, so I just assumed you get paid for those extra services, honestly.
I don't know. And it wouldn't be, to me, like that small portion wouldn't even be considered heavily, like if I should, take the job or not. It wouldn't be like, oh, well, I have to do 2 extra weddings, and I don't think it's gonna help me pay the bills. Like, that would be a small portion of whatever they're getting paid. I even did, so some of the research I did had some major cities like Miami, Seattle, San Fran, Dallas, Nashville, St. Louis. Some of the costs of like monthly rent on a normal, they had like a low and then I had a high scale for each of those places. The cost of a basic dinner at each of these places, the cost of 2 movie tickets, and then what this website said the income required, like for one individual to live, like on this cost of living. Brentwood got $50,000. That was the required income for one individual to live.
Oh, I believe that 100%.
In Brentwood, and then 100%. Spring Hill, where I worked as a pastor, it said was $35,000.
I believe that. But I think Spring Hill's up and coming too, so there's that.
Certainly. I mean, it's just an offshoot. Like Brentwood is an offshoot of Nashville. It's it's just urban sprawl is happening. So yes, but when I was a pastor, I don't mind saying I was only part time, and so I made $31,000 part time. And
so full time, you can guess, just a rough guess. Full time, he's gonna do 42.
42, yeah. And so I have a 4-year degree, a BS degree, which is what it is, BS.
Yep.
Now, but my position is often compared to a lot of times compared to a teacher because it's a 4-year degree, the type of position you're in, you work with students, and so I was part time. So some guys have master degrees in what I do, and I think certainly that level of education definitely warrants a little more, or certainly warrants more pay. It does in every other field. Why not in this one too? But I compared it to a Williamson County school teacher, and I should have been making roughly $37,000 full time for my position. So some places even make more. But that, again, for a single person, like single income person. But you can't live in Spring Hill. If you know anything about Spring Hill, you can't live in Spring Hill for $37,000. by any means. So then you go back to the cost of living. You have to think about the cost of living.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, the cost of living is a whole different conversation because it depends on what you expect to get for that cost of living. If you expect to live a higher life, I certainly think anybody who, I think anybody can live in Spring Hill and Fairview or you know, the outer of the like the richer areas easily on $35,000 a year. Now, it's obviously better if you can save up and make a down payment on a house. But rent, speaking of rent, like, honestly, dude, like, renting some apartments, like, you can get some dirt cheap deals. But as soon as you throw a family in the mix, that's where it throws everything off. But
Monkey Ranch.
one person on $35,000, totally easy. If you can't do that, that's
super doable.
Mismanaging finances, for sure.
You deserve to be homeless.
Yeah. But, so you talk about that. You talk about what the pastors make. I think, all right, so part of me goes, oh, if you love God, you should do it for free. That's the stupid, like, argumentative side of me. But I understand you have to get paid. What bothers me is I'm sitting here looking at this chart, and we'll talk about budgets more, but I'm looking at this chart, and I put it up on the live stream. So if you're watching YouTube, you can see the chart.
It's a little hard to see. I don't know how
is
it's,
it?
what it's
I can make it bigger, but I was trying to keep it from like covering up the webcams. So I'm gonna make it bigger, but I'm gonna take it off until I like want to talk about it more in depth. But on the chart, it's 47% of all of the churches spend their money. It's 47% of salary and wages. What I think is fucking outlandish, like retardedly outlandish, when pastors make over six figures.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%.
That's so fucking insane. There's no reason your church should be paying you that much. And because I'm going to be real honest and real rough with anybody who's a pastor, fucking preacher, whatever you want to call yourself, you guys don't do enough to be warranting six figures. You just fucking don't.
What did you think that I was going to say? What did you think my stance was going to be?
I think you would probably agree with me more, but when I say pastor preacher, like, you actually probably spent more time than I think most people do because you taught students. You actually had to build a lesson plan. But in my mind, and I can be wrong, so maybe you can correct me here. In my mind, if you're like the main preacher, pastor, you attend a lot of fucking bullshit meetings. You will like do a random bullshit with funerals, and you'll speak on Sundays, maybe Wednesdays, depending on your churches. But other than that, you do a whole lot of admin bullshit, but like you don't actually do a whole lot. Like it's almost like you're consulting for people in their spiritual lives. But I don't know that hourly count racks up, and I certainly, as an atheist, don't think your experience means shit. So, six figures is outlandish for the amount of work that I perceive you put in. Yeah. And I say that very clearly, that I perceive that you put in.
Well, I can tell you that most pastors probably put in 20 to 25 hours of study time, of prep time, of practice time on their messages for Sundays. That's, I mean, and then you have the more seasoned. I've heard somebody say that the average is probably 18 to 20 hours somebody will spend on a message from the time they brainstorm
to give a speech on a Sunday.
Yep. Because you
guys need to be more efficient.
No, but these guys study. I mean, it's the study portion because you got to make sure you've got your scriptures, but then you've got to go into. A lot of guys do like the whole Greek thing. Like, what do the Greek? They go back into what do the Greeks say? What is the Greek versus the Hebrew version? And so they spend a lot of time there, and they spend a lot of time crafting it like you would, like very meticulously into a form that flows very well, transitions, that whole thing. Because you want a guy who can speak well. Like I get,
absolutely.
You want a guy who can speak well,
persuasive.
Not even persuasive. Just he's got to be somebody.
He's got to be charismatic, but I say persuasive for a very specific reason.
I know you do. That's why I said no.
I don't like it,
jerk. But no, but there's a reason why they spend that much time. But yeah, but then you could say, well, what else? Where do you spend your other time? Well, I think they meet with people, like you said, a lot of meetings. So many meetings. A lot of times, those meetings are not necessary. A lot of times, it's you meet once a week on crap that you can meet on once a month for.
Now, I also think that's every fucking church's problem in the world. To 2 reasons. One of those being, one, if you're going to be inefficient with your time, you go right fucking ahead. Like, you're just wasting everybody's time in your life. 2, why aren't you leveraging technology so people don't have to fucking roll into your stupid-ass church to have this meeting? Let's roll up the Skype phone. Bitch, you can be, like, top down. You don't need pants on because you got the webcam top up, bro.
Because
like,
it's relationships. You still have to build relationships with the people you work with.
You can still do that with Skype. You and I have a great relationship, and I don't physically see you.
Yeah, but you're okay. So where you work is IT. Why don't all of you just work from home all the time?
Why don't I?
Why don't all of you? Like, why does he wants all of you to like have a relationship with one another?
Yeah, but dude, we have a guy who works 100% remote. He only comes in for meetings.
That guy doesn't count. We all know.
I disagree. He's fucking amazing. Good. And we all work remotely. Plus, dude, tomorrow I have meetings, but Tuesday if I was like Tuesday I have meetings. Wednesday, if I was like, you know what, I want to work remote today, I just send a fucking email and say, hey, I'm working remote today. And that, except for like emergencies where I have to go and physically put my hands on things, 100% okay. Because you're leveraging technology.
I agree, but the church world is like it's all about community. That's like one of the things we preach about is being in a community. So if we were a workforce that didn't reflect like, hey, we want you guys to really be pouring into somebody's life, make sure you're reaching out to the people around you and you're really involved in their lives and what's going on beyond. We could get into a whole mess of another issue of talking about like
palm greasing, essentially, because that's what that sounds like.
Well, the people like you work with, but it's also you're a Christian, so they're like Christian brother. Man, there's a messy world there too. We can do that for another topic, but we have to be there because we still build camaraderie. You still want to be able to work with your team. You want to be so.
You can do that via emails. You can do that via Skype.
No.
Yes, absolutely.
You can, but why? For people like me, like I'm an extrovert, so that would drain me to have to just do emails all day. Like I love being with people, and I love working with people, and I love brainstorming.
But what if I told you could work 4 hours a week and make $600,000, or make 6 figures? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying that's like super inefficient, and churches are super inefficient with their money, and I want to use that point to roll into the budgets. Partly because of time thing, partly because budgets for me is like the biggest impact churches have. So
now this is not for every, and I want to say I don't know which one you found that at. So it's not for every church, and so don't. No,
so the article I pulled up, or the picture that I'm about to throw up here. I'm gonna put it back up here. All right, so the picture you see on the screen, if you're watching YouTube, if you're not, don't worry, I'm gonna do my best to describe it, but. This is a result of a study on a nationwide 2014 church budget priority study. How churches spend their money. It's not for everyone, but it is just they did it like based on 1,605 respondents who answered this question in April 2014 through the church budget priority studies conducted by Christianity Today's Church Law and Tax Group. There's a sampling error at 95% is plus 2.45%. So, basically, I mean, it's a study done across a bunch of people. They voluntarily gave this information. Before I roll into that picture, there's another article that I'm going to put in the show notes, but my problem, maybe I should save that for later. I will roll that in. So let's talk about this picture. And I'm sorry that's disorganized, but I want to put that as the nail in the coffin. If you look at this picture, if you're not looking at this picture, I'm going to go over it really quickly. Salaries and wages is, on average, 47% of a church's revenue. That's where 47% of that goes. 9% is to ministries and support. 7% is to the building, mortgage, rent, lease, whatever. Another 7% to utilities. This is water, phone, internet, security, services, everything like that. I think IT would be included in that. 5% to maintenance and cleaning. Then you got 4% to office administration, postage, equipment, and supplies. I take that back. That's where IT fits in. 3% for insurance. 3%, and that's property insurance. 3% for denominational contributions / fees. 2% for your cash reserves. So you got to have that cash built up. You never know when you're going to have to buy a bunch of hookers for the church. 1% in debt. All right, so the last two categories, 4% for domestic mission support, 5% for international mission support. So you're looking at this. 9% of that is charitable. Out of all of their shit, 9% on average is considered charitable. Okay? I don't know how I can tell you guys this. If you looked at a fucking charity and their operating cost was close to 90% and their charitable contribution was 9%, I bet you guys aren't giving to this fucking charity.
No, you're paying.
Because every $10 you give, $1 goes to that poor puppy in that cage. 9 of those dollars goes to that bitch sitting behind the thing answering the phone. Dog Pound USA, give us your money because we don't want to kill them. Like,
well,
yeah.
And I think that speaks to those churches. Is how are you managing your staff? Are you overly? I know some churches that have a guy who does, one menial task when he could do 6 or 7. That when he puts them all together, that's the whole job. It's the function that he could work in. And it seems to me like people who run theirs that way, who run it with 47% blows my mind. Just like you, like 47%. If you could even cut that in half and spread that chart around, how much more could you be doing?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was talking about inefficiencies. Like,
yeah.
That's why I get off on that so hard. Like, you're being so inefficient with people's time, and time equals money in every world.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. You need to give people more jobs. You give people more money, but because they have more jobs. You don't pay 15 people the same amount to do a lot of the same job, and it's redundant.
I've been to some churches where you walk through and you go, what the fuck do you do all day? And I know you make an average fucking living. So you imagine you got 20 employees, base pay at 40 grand. That's a real quick close to $1 million. Like, that's 800 grand.
I found myself as a pastor at the church I went to sometimes saying, what does that person do again? Like when you don't know what somebody does, that speaks about it. And I've always said, speaking on the budget, if you want to know the heart of what the heart of an organization is, you look at how the money flows. Like where's the money going? That's going to let you know if you want to be a part of something like that. Now there may be something else with the budgets as far as salaries, but I don't think salaries should ever. And I may just be dumb. It may just be my limited knowledge, but I just don't see how salaries end up being half of what people pay into. And again, I guess I'm very limited. I don't have the business knowledge that somebody else does. And I'd love for somebody to email in if they.
Yeah, if you're like a church office administrator and you're doing the bookkeeping and you can set me fucking straight.
And educate me. Yeah, because I have no idea.
50% of your fucking revenue that is provided from businesses that like want to support the local church, tax breaks, the government, and whatever the fucking grants you get, and your parishioners, and you're giving 50 cents on the dollar to your people, and you're giving 0.09 cents, or would that be 9 cents? No, sorry, 9 cents on the dollar to charity? 4 of those pennies is local. 5 of those go international. So fuck you guys for starters. Like,
well, you say you guys. There's a lot of things that aren't told, like spoken about. Like, what area? Does this say what area that this is in?
No, it doesn't. But
where this is
I don't actually care. I've said it on this podcast before, and I'll say it again. I don't want anybody going fucking to another country before your town is fixed. So when you go to fucking Chile for a religious retreat, and you've got fucking homeless people in your city, get the fuck out of here. And it's at 5%. So you're more international than you are domestic. Get the fuck out of here.
Those churches are. You can't base that. No, I get what you're saying.
However,
but churches should always, and this is from the biblical standpoint, should always have international stuff, even if it's simultaneous. Because you're never going to get rid of it from everywhere. So you might as well, if they can, dip their fingers everywhere. But that's because people are paying money in. And that's why I said, if you want to know the heart of an organization, what are people doing? because ultimately people are paying their money in. It's the people who attend a congregation that are building this chart we're looking at right here.
No, I don't care. If
but
you're
not
donating,
a part of it though. You know,
well, hell fucking no, I'm not. They pass that collection plate to me, and I go,
I'll take 5.
Do I withdraw?
Just make a change.
No, I don't. Yeah, just make a change, but in a good way. Like, I'm gonna do what the church does. I'm gonna benefit from this. So I'm gonna drop in a 10 and pull out a 20. Don't check my math. Okay, like no, it's just fucking insane to me. So I say all of that. If you want to see the graph, it can be in the second link, and it's how churches spend their money. And I can't say the validity of this. I found it on a fucking Google search. It could be totally off, but it's on the internet, so I assume it's true. And I've seen similar graphs to this, and just the numbers being skewed a little bit. I bring all that to say, churches and their finances can go right to fucking hell. You guys believe in that, and here's why. You guys don't get taxed. Do you know the legal reasoning why churches don't get taxed?
Let's hear it.
No, I asked you know. I want to know if you know.
I don't think so.
Okay,
no.
So the reason churches and religions and all of anything who qualifies don't get taxed is because they're considered charitable.
Okay. I didn't know that.
That's how you fit in, that you're a charity. Oink.
We are. It looks like it's me.
No, at 9%, 9 cents on the dollar. I don't consider you a charity.
Why not? What do you consider charity? We're giving.
You better be doing over half. You better be doing 51 cents on the dollar.
We didn't say we're a non-profit. You still got to pay people. Now that
comes down. Now again, this is. I have high hopes for my for good companies. If you're a for good company and the majority of your money is going to operating costs, you're doing something fucking wrong. If you're not putting at least 51 cents on a dollar to your cause, get the fuck out of here. You're doing it wrong.
Those companies, don't they have people like Goodwill, for example, like people from all over just bring their junk in, and so that's easy to do, but people at church have to give their own money. So it wouldn't necessarily be the same, because that would require that the church is giving. They're not selling something that dirt cheap that someone else had before. You know, this is like
no, it doesn't matter.
Money.
Even better, the church doesn't fucking do anything. The money comes to them. So they should be doing 51 cents on the dollar. 51 cents of every dollar they make should go to domestic and international support. I say domestic, but I get that you guys want to go overseas. That being said, if you look up any charity, if you look up giving to charities, everybody's going to tell you if the operating cost is more than what they give, you probably should find a different charity. That's just how it works.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would do. Anybody who's listening, if you ask a church, and most churches do put out in their budget, they just do that as
it's all. You can also find that because some of it's public record.
Yeah. Some of them have public record, but they have to let you. I'm fairly certain, like it's a law that if you ask, hey, I want to see the budget, that they have to let you see it. And if a church doesn't let you see their budget, then there's probably there's a red flag for you.
I think you're wrong on that. I don't think that's a law.
You don't think so?
Nope, absolutely not. Because they are.
I don't know why I thought somebody told me that, but anyways, I think
I could be wrong. Because they're a charity.
If you go to church, or if you're a place that has a budget, big or small church, if you want to share that with us so we can see that and like compare it to even this chart we have, I mean, I think that'd be good.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Just something to see.
Guarantee it's not 51 cents on the dollar. Guarantee. And I say all that to say, barely meeting charitable needs with their revenues. Barely. With most of them spending 60 to 70% on operating costs, at least. Now, this graph is way more unforgiving. At 91%, 90%. Do you know the last time we did this check, if we started taxing churches, $71 billion could be brought in for the country to use?
Separation of church and state.
Right, great. But the next time I see a fucking politician go, I believe in God, or God says this, or we should do this, and how many fucking abortion laws do you see get pushed?
He just wants votes.
No, I'm not even talking about fucking Trump. I'm talking about everybody in this world. Devin, you are a fucking man of God, yes?
Yeah. Well, I'm
Okay.
a man of God. Yeah.
Sure. Right? So if you ran for office, you would guide people on your moral principles, yes?
Yep.
Which are affected by
the Bible.
right.
And
so
God.
no, there's technically not separation of church and state, just there on a human level. The only way you can actually truly have that is to have a fucking atheist sit in office. Now, that being said, if you look at abortion laws or anti-gay marriage, it's no different than corporations. You have churches, you have religious companies lobbying politicians who are getting paid to push these agendas. So separation of church and state, my fucking ass. So let's just roll in and tax these motherfuckers, man. Like, seriously. $71 billion a year? That's a whole lot of money. Like, a whole lot of money. And you look at the, like, let's pull up the world's national, like, the America's debt calculation. America's
like
debt.
Trillion or something?
We're in the trillions. Heck yeah.
3.5
we are at 19 trillion.
19 trillion?
That's right. Which is actually not bad, considering I looked at this like 4 years ago and it was 17 trillion.
Well, that's like saying take all the rich people in the world. If you are in the United States, they could pay off our debt no problem.
I don't think they can, actually, because it's so high at this point. Top American billionaires. We'll say billionaires. Let's see. The combined net worth in 2013 of the 400 richest Americans is $2 trillion.
Oh my gosh, we're dead.
Right?
So what makes you think that even if the church was to do, even if the church alone was like, you know what, we'll pay off national debt, like it's going to make
$71 fucking billion. It makes a fucking dent. It's like going, you know what? Hey, government, just don't tax me because, you know, like, what's it going to dent, right? Like, what's it going to do? Well, if everybody starts fucking thinking, like, suddenly nobody's taxed.
Well, how many people live in the United States? How many people in the United States?
A lot.
You know, can you look that up?
United States population. I'll give you whatever the Google will give me. 318 million, give or take. That's from 2014. So, that being said, dude, like, to not tax churches is like stupid because they're not charities. Like, really, you're not a charity.
Well, it depends on what your definition of a charity is, like, or what the definition of a charity is.
Charity. What the legal definition is.
Yeah, legal definition.
I don't want the legal one. They voluntarily give help, typically in the form of money, to those who need. Typically in the form of money. Churches just hand out fucking checks all the time?
They build schools and they do things that are much more lasting than, like, here's a $5 cheeseburger, or here's $5 to buy a cheeseburger. No, here's a school we built.
But at 9%, I'm not impressed.
That you can get your kids out of this impoverished country. Here's a well that we built so your families don't have to walk miles to put baskets of water on their head and come back. So
but at that rate, I could start doing bullshit like I'm a charity because I gave this homeless guy.
I thought about that, but how much easier is it for? I mean, because you yourself, if you wanted to, and at the rate that we make money, the income we have, could not travel to a place, pay for the tickets, stay for the amount of time we needed to stay, build a school with our own money, and then resource that school as well. But that's what a lot of churches are doing. They're going.
Churches don't pay for that though. They don't pay for that. No, they fucking don't. They find other people. No, they find other people to donate, to give. Churches do not go and build schools from their revenues alone. They don't. And I would even venture to say
people are all donating. So in a sense, if it's their income because it's a form of going into whatever fund. Like,
did your church ever build any schools like front to back? Yeah. And no supporters, no businesses, no organizations.
That's what churches are. So a church is not a building. A church it's the people. That's the definition. When people say church most of the time, of course, people think it's a building I'm going to church. I'm going to a building. But church is the people. And the people, is think of this pool, say, we want to make X better, this area better. So they donate their money. And so they give their money. And so then it's up to the people who are in the leadership positions of these churches to say, we think this money would be best utilized in X or Y. And so the people who give go, okay, yeah, I agree with that. And that's why I say you should look at your church's budget to see where their heart is. If it's something that, you're giving your money because you couldn't do that on your own. So what is your church doing with your money? Is it 47%?
I would love to see a church who's built a fucking school overseas, because I know they're not doing it here. I think you're right. They have to get money from somewhere. It's not like a church can't start without the people that go to that church who are willing to give the money that they make. Like I get what you're saying there. Like a church just doesn't have money. It's the people who give the money. So if that's what you mean, yes, absolutely. It has to be somebody on the outside who has a heart for that and says, I'll donate $20,000. Which rolls me back around to a church who makes for every time they make $1, they only give 10 cents away to what's considered a charitable cause. Okay? That's way too fucking slanted in the wrong direction.
If you take the blanket one here, but I don't know that it's that bad. I mean,
and again, the other article I saw says 70%. That's still not the majority of your revenue.
What did they give?
The other article I have says that most churches barely meet charitable needs with their revenues, with most of them spending 60 to 70% on operating costs, like buildings and their staff. So even if you take a more conservative number and say it's 30 to 40%, while it's closer to 51, it's still not the majority of the revenue, and that drives me fucking insane.
But dude, slap a number on that, and I'm thinking, well, how much money? Like, let's say it's $1 million, so you're giving $300,000-$400,000 to a place. I mean, yeah, you could always look and say, well, man, $600,000, you're only giving $400,000 to this place, and wherever that place is receiving that $400,000 is like, oh my gosh, we could never have done this on our own.
But okay, first of all, when's the last time you saw a church give a huge lump sum like that? They spread it out so far and so thin that it becomes like this trickle-down effect, and I kind of get what you're saying like that, but I don't care about the dollar value. If you make $1 million as a church, that's your revenue, okay? If you make $1 million, if you spend over $500,000 on your staff, what the fuck ever. Let me rephrase that. If your charitable donations is not $500,000 and above, you are doing something wrong.
So you mean whatever the church is, whatever money they're taking in, whatever they turn back out should be, you think it should be majority?
Yes, the majority. Even if it's at 51%, that should be towards charitable causes. I don't consider a preacher and his salary charitable. I don't consider fucking having Xboxes in your teen's playroom charitable. Those are not charitable causes. Enriching the community around you and enriching impoverished places. That's not right, is it? Anyways. Enriching poor places, those are charitable causes. Feeding children, feeding the homeless, charitable causes. 51%. Bare minimum, if you're not hitting 51%, you're fucked up for good company. And that's all churches is a for good company.
Well, the reason that the people, now I'm not going to say like people should be spending like that ton of money. I agree with you. Like I said, I'd be interested to see even the church I go to. I would see if I can get a hold of their budget and see how things go there too. But so you've got to take care of your own building, right? Because there's people who come in, and the world today is such you have to love everybody and everything's acceptable, and you can't be offended or you can't be offensive. That churches are trying to work on that. Like they really want to target people who don't feel like want to try out church, but are afraid to be, I don't know, kicked out or yelled at or whatever people think that's going to happen when they come into a building. And so they make the environment a place where somebody feels comfortable when they walk in. Like I don't know how else to explain it in terms of they just want to make sure people are comfortable there. So yes, they pour some money into their own local building, maybe even local programs that they have for people. So think about this. So one of the ones they have is for drug addicts and alcoholics who they're allowed they have once or twice meetings. They hold meetings there. Or even people who are outside of the organization baseball teams who want to have their parties there. They allow people to come into their church, so some of that overhead comes from other people utilizing that building.
That I would consider charitable.
Factors. Yeah,
I would consider those things charitable. However, you can track that. You can like understand where that's going, the time allocated, why that needs to be upgraded. If you know what you're fucking doing, if you're running a tight business, and that's all a church is, honestly, you take away the spirit, it's just a business. You can track all of those things, and you can consider that totally separate. Oh, dude, we're fucked on time. We are fucked on time. But you can track that. So
I have enough for, I think, a second episode of this stuff, honestly.
I don't want to do a second episode. I don't want. Oh my god. Oh,
yeah, but Jesus. It was just talking. No. So what I was saying is, like, the guys who make six figures, they should not. They should not make six figures. I think you should make, as a floor, cost of living, as a ceiling, maybe a few thousand more, depending on like what you do, but a few thousand more than the average income.
Yeah, you should live a comfortable life as a preacher. I 100% agree. Just because you're doing something for God doesn't mean you should do it for nothing. You should not be making an absorbent amount of cash doing this.
And then one of the reasons why I said that was because if you're a place, if you're the church, the Bible talks about not clinging on to earthly things and not allowing the love of money to take root in your heart, and that's where a lot of our problems come from. Is people have this love of money that ruins their life. That their goal is to make that dollar. And so they spend their whole lives doing it, and they never did what actually made them happy, or they never did anything that they thought was meaningful with their lives. But pastors we should be an example, and I can say this as a pastor. Like, I don't know if I would even feel comfortable, like, making that much money. Now, some people will say, we give our money, like, with the money we make, we give away. But then I would say, well, why do you even have to make that money? If you're comfortable with what the church is doing with all of their finances already, why even make that much? Why don't you just leave it in the pot to begin with?
Because your church is going to give it out correctly.
Yes, assuming that you agree. Like I said, assuming
right, it's their budget. Yep.
And so, to me, I agree. Pastors should not make that much. Just perception is reality. You've heard that. Everyone's heard that. And even though, like, especially perception is reality. And if you look like, and even if you're not somebody who's swindling the church, people are going to look at that because they don't have that much money and go, look, I work honestly. I put in my 40 hours a week, and I do this and that, but I'm not making $100,000, $150,000. So what is it that they have that I don't?
They have people giving them money because that makes them feel better about their relationship with God.
But then one of the things I thought about was, well, executive pastors are comparable to, what did I say executive pastors are comparable to? Director of operations. Okay, so director of operations makes, I think instead of Brentwood, they make, the national average for a director of operations is $78,000. In Nashville, it's $60,000. So, I mean, I guess that's a little more than what it's.
But that makes sense a little bit, because if you're comparing him to an operations manager or a director of operations, that makes sense because they're doing less of the coerciveness and more of the making sure it's a tight ship. Yeah, I want to pay that guy a little bit more money because I want him to have experience and know what he's fucking doing, so you're not fucking wasting money everywhere. That's what I want. Yeah, however, we don't. We have some Yahoo fucking running these ships, giving out money to all the wrong fucking places.
Yeah.
Still not fucking 51%.
Well, you know what I'm glad that you said? I'm glad that you said that even though, like, you don't care about the church stuff, but that's a job that they have. And at the end of the day, we love doing what we do, but it is a job. There's the whole, like, so what I'm talking about, the muddy part of it is it's a business, whether people want to say it is or not. But it's still that whole spiritual aspect, and so it can get a little muddy for people, especially who are working in it. But I think, of course, and you would agree with this, pastors, just as much as anyone else, have the right to have a good savings, have have money, tuition saved back for their kids, an emergency fund, just all that stuff.
Yep.
But also, being a pastor is a completely different animal. Perception is reality. And you should not be making tons and tons and tons of money. And if you wanted to say, well, I give it back, Well, some of it, if there's a certain organization or something you want to give to, I would see that. But for the most part, I think if your church is doing everything you expect it to do and you agree with the budget and you agree with its philosophies, you just leave it in the pot. But if there's somebody out there who makes more than that, and is listening to our tiny, tiny podcast, I would love to hear from you as well. Or anybody else who has, maybe parents or uncles that are in that situation.
Look, man, you don't need money. You're spiritually rich, okay? You're spiritually rich. You don't need that money.
I wish I was spiritually rich. I'm still not there as much as I'd like to be.
You've got God's will. Hey, so you had the last one here. You have the issue of giving. Do you think that could be its own topic instead of wrapping it into a budget?
I think so. I think
it sounds like you've got more going on here.
Let's see. So the issue of giving.
Or are those all balance related?
Can you see this? This is the issue of giving.
And fuck! That's a whole fucking topic, dude. That's a whole topic, and we already ran over time hard on this episode. But I really fucking disagree with how churches spend their money. So when you did this, I was like, I'm in. I'm so in.
So thank you, Lauren, for giving us this topic.
Absolutely.
It was really good to talk about, I think.
Absolutely, Lauren. I appreciate you emailing in. And this is why you email in, because when you send in gems like this, we're going to spend half an hour to an hour. We'll break our time limit to fucking talk it out.
Like, so skip the intro stuff and just go to the main topic at this point.
Yeah. No, I love the intro. Don't you skip that shit. Skip our 7 minutes of social media, because you're going to get that in your face some other way.
Yeah.
That being said, I think it's a good point to wrap up. I think my last one sentence thing is, I think all churches should be doing at least 51 cents on every dollar to a charitable reason.
And my last thing would probably be, see what your church's budget is, and if you agree with it, then you should be giving. That's another topic for another time.
So cool. We'll wrap up the episode, and I will say that with, we gave social media some shout-outs in the middle of the episode, but I'm still going to say you can find me on all the important ones at Your IT Hero.
Love you, mean it.